Hey everybody, welcome. We're continuing our reading of Hamza Yusuf book on Imam al-Mawlud's Matharat al Qulub. This poem is about envy, it says. We're on page 27, okay? And it's poem verses 54 through 58, so let's check it out. If you were to describe your desire that someone lose his blessing as envy, then your description would be accurate. So you're envious when you want someone to lose something that you want. So like if they got a nice horse, you're like, oh, I hope they lose their horse. That's an example of envy. In other words, if you yourself were able, through some ruse, to eliminate someone's blessing, you would utilize that ruse to do so. So taking every opportunity to damage them so that they can't have what you wanted. But if the fear of God, the eternally besought, prevents you from doing so, then you are not an envious person. So fearing Allah, being God-fearing, this is what the proof of Islam Imam al-Ghazali expected with hope from the bounty of the possessor of majesty and generosity. He said that whosoever despises envy, such that he loathes it in himself, is safeguarded from fulfilling what it utmostly necessitates. That's a beautiful way to put it. So if you fear Allah and you loathe that feeling inside of you, like, no, stop, you will be safe from that. I think we could do that with beauty, right? Women get very envious of each other, super catty about fashion. The amount of nonsense I have to overhear about girls gossiping about their each other's stomachs or their makeup isn't on point. It's just quite petty. Also the worshipping of Versace and Louis Vuitton and all that weird stuff. It's pretty insane how people will start to get sort of envious whenever someone with that bag comes in to work. It's just weird. So if you can despise that, it's better for us, right? However, that's an easy example for some. As I said before, I used to get really jealous. Not envious. Well, I guess jealousy is related to envy, but as he put it, envy has a relationship to eliminate. So if you don't want to eliminate that person, then you're jealous. But if you want to eliminate it, then you're envious. Maybe that's the difference. I think we've all had experiences with that. So let's see what Hamza Yusuf says about it. Envy, hasad, okay, look, it says hasad right here, is a severe disease of the heart that some scholars hold to be the root of all diseases, while others opine that the parent disease goes back to covetousness, tama. Okay, so covetousness is tama, and envy is hasad. Wow. Regardless of where envy ranks in the hierarchy of diseases, most scholars agree that it is the first manifestation of wrongdoing. Okay, so if you see envy, that means it's one of the first warning signs. And the first cause of disobedience against God. Women can do that, and men, when it comes to another person's partner. They want to say, oh, that person has a nice partner, I want to sleep with them. And they become a home wrecker, right? It occurred when Satan Iblis refused to obey God when he commanded to bow down before the new creation. Adam, the first human being, nothing prevented Iblis from bowing down except his envy of Adam. For God chose Adam to be his vicegerent on earth instead of him. Now, that's unique. I haven't heard that Iblis wanted to be chosen by God to be on earth. Iblis arrogantly objected to the command that he show Adam any honor, for Iblis saw himself a creation from fire, superior to Adam, created merely from clay. So if a Muslim is saying, oh, if they're talking about race, like, oh, white Muslims versus black Muslims, you would automatically have to say, well, did you not know that the Iblis was the first example of racism because he felt superior simply because he was created from fire? Humans are made of the same substance and are equal before God, so it's very un-Islamic to be a racist. You cannot be a Muslim and be a racist at the same time if you're being an actual Muslim, right? It's interesting. When confronted with his disobedience, Satan did not seek forgiveness from God. Enviers develop a mindset that makes it impossible for them to admit they are wrong. You have to admit when you're wrong. Now, when somebody got a promotion at work, I did get envy when I think about it. There was somebody who I did get envious, and I was dumb, and I shouldn't. It was a while ago, quite some time, but I did get jealous, and it was wrong. So I'll admit that I was wrong. To manifest envy is to manifest one of the characteristics of the most wretched creature, Satan. Okay, so we have to watch our envy then. It's interesting that here in the Islamic mindset, envy is very bad. How many products do people name envy and sell you? How many actresses talk about envy as their alter ego persona? Quite toxic, some of them, encouraging you to have envy. There was a rap song called Use a Wind by 50 Cent called Use a Window Shopper. Looking at you can't buy, you're a window shopper. And there was a whole song about how you don't have money to buy things and all you get to do is look and want and desire, but I get to buy it. And then it's like those kinds of songs, this old song from the 90s. But it's interesting if you look at the lyrics of music and what they tell you to worship. It's quite astounding. Makes you think. To manifest envy is to manifest one of the characteristics of the most wretched creature, Satan. So when people accuse the music industry of having satanic leanings, you wonder, right? In Arabic, hasud or hasid is one who carries and emanates the envy. That's what you call it? Oh, there's a word for it. So if you... so if someone says, oh, that is a hasid. Oh, somebody who emanates envy. Emanation of envy. I wonder if I ever had that vibe. It'd be very sad if I emanated it to such a degree where it was identifiable to be called a hasud or a hasid. That'd be quite sad. And the objects of one envy is called mahsud. Okay, so the object, she would say, this is being mahsud to you. This is being like an object of one's envy. So like the Lord of the Rings, the One Ring of Saruman, you would say that's a mahsud object. Because that's how much pull it has towards anyone who gets it, where they become so envious that they kill the other person for it, because that's what that ring power did. I know that's a fantasy example, but bear with me, it's how I can understand it. The Quran teaches us to seek refuge in God from the evil of the envier, hasid, when he envies. Quran 113:5. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that envy consumes good deeds the way fire devours dry wood. Wow. So if you allow that kindle of jealousy to burn inside you and envy, you are really just hurting yourself, allowing it to spread, which would reduce your ability to get out of that mindset to then do good deeds because you'd be so distracted by envy. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also said, every possessor of any blessing is envied. This is interesting. Yeah, I've felt that a little bit, and I've also felt it towards others. It is interesting how sometimes somebody's blessings can get envied. Someone of means will have someone who envies him for what he possesses. Even a street sweeper may be envied. If he owns a donkey to pull his cart and another street sweeper has no donkey, and he has to pull his cart, this can be a cause for envy. So giving us an example of, it doesn't just have to be the Ferrari, it could be something as simple as an adorable donkey. You know, one time, that's a good example though, because one time I did get jealous that people who get to have dogs and I can't. Yeah. He's right. You can find things to get envious of that you can let get out of hand. Then when you retrospect it, you're like, come on, man, just be thankful for what you have. You gotta have gratitude for what you have. You can't let that consume you, right? Well, it is believed that envy can bring about harm to the one envied. Ultimately, it is the envier who is harmed the most, because they're occupied in their mind, right? They are possessed. The evil eye is generally related to envy, though not necessarily so. Some people simply have the eye, some type of psychic power that does not necessitate envy. Every culture has a concept of the evil eye. In some cultures, parents used to pierce the ears of their firstborn males and dress them as little girls for the first 5 years. Oh my gosh, really? Oh my goodness. Why? So that people couldn't get handsome, they couldn't get jealous of their sons and like try to steal them away? Oh, I would never dress my son like that. Since firstborn males were so coveted. Wow. Yeah, the concept of the evil eye. That's on those Greek ships. I've seen that. I think it's Turkish. I got a bracelet once from my Greek boss. The blue one, the turquoise evil eye thing. I used to put it on my backpack. It also was on ships, the Hellenistic ships. Interesting. Well, dressing like a little girl. Ooh.